ends 1 week and begins a new. The first symbol is, of course, wine. Wine is sweet. It symbolizes light, happiness, goodness, joy. We have the symbol of the candle. We have the symbol of light itself. Light stands for goodness. And then the spices, the sweet smelling spices. So our evil souls. Enters.
tonight by our good friend Laura Levy. And with no further ado, Avi.
It's not Avi, your father, Avi.
Well, I named my son.
Avi is in Japan.
Avi. I named him after my father because I called my father Avi, which is Hebrew, which means my father.
This is a joke. Thank you. Thank you. Before I try to show off with my musical prowess or talent, I was told that I am about to say a few words. I just come back from Cape May, where I had hundreds of people listen to my story. I'm not going to bore you with that one, but I do believe that I should say a few words. For those of you who do not know the details of my background, most people live their lives in memories of their lives in chronological order, but my life is much different than most people here in the United States, and therefore I have lived two different lives. One before World War II and the other one after World War II. The Holocaust and the life I experienced during the 6 years of the war, I keep in a guarded place in my mind. For many years, people would ask me how old I was, and I would always tell them 6 years less than my age, simply because I did not count the years of World War II and the Holocaust. As a matter of fact, I had a dream. I was just telling my son last night. You see, tomorrow will be 76 years, it's a lifetime, that I arrived in the hell of Auschwitz with 1,500, I should say 1,499 more people, men, women, and children, in 1942, if you can think back that far. I cannot recall the exact name of Dr. whoever he was, that SS man who stood there at the train station in Auschwitz where we disembarked, and he made the selection. And I remember I was the only, or I am the only person, I think, that could say in about a flip of a second, I got 2 years older. When I heard the doctor, it wasn't Mengele yet. Mengele came to transport after mine. We were 1,500 people. I don't know if you know, you might as well repeat that story. Men, women, children from a ghetto in Germany. Actually, I escaped from Warsaw and got to a place called Nowy Dwór, which was Poland, really occupied by the Germans. They liquidated that whole ghetto, and that was the last transport of 1,500 people who arrived at the Auschwitz station. Something did not sound right to me when I heard the guy say, the assessman who was standing next to that doctor who was making the selection. For those who understand German, you will appreciate that. He said, "Alle Männer über 18 zum Lager." All men over 18 to the camp. I never heard the word lager. I didn't know what in the world that meant, but I realized what was going on. So I was exactly 16 years old, one day after my 16th birthday, and I suddenly started thinking in my mind, how do I get to be 18? So being born August 31st, 1926, I quickly realized that I was only 16. And I needed to be 18. So I was afraid, in reality, I was afraid to change my birth date, meaning August 31st. I figured I'll make a mistake somewhere, but let me change the year. So I changed the year into 1924. So I became born August 31st, 1924, which made me 18 when the guy asked my birth year. As a matter of fact, all my records when I got to the United States read, they still do, I never changed it, that I was born August 31st, 1924. It took my son a few years, quite a few years, when we went back to Poland to realize by the remnants of a family who knew me, who knew my family outside of Warsaw where we lived, and they realized, no, I was not born in 1924. I was born in 1926 because they knew my entire Wisnia family in Otwock, which was right a suburb of Warsaw, where we lived. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the details. I had all the numbers, in fact, that were tattooed, the following day after we arrived. By the way, I quickly moved myself over to the group of men who I realized there was something wrong there, because they kept as guys who were capable of work, and I wanted to be capable of work. So I became 18 quickly. And I had that dream the night before last. I said, oh my God, I stood right in front of that assessment. And by the way, that's the time when I looked at the belt buckle. And that played quite a trick on me. That tall assessment who stood in front of me, the first time I saw, on the belt, my eyes reached, you can imagine how tall he was. I was a kid. I looked at this belt buckle and it said, Gott mit uns. In other words, God is with them. Well, let me tell you, it was at that moment that I really had a revelation. I says, not the God that I know about. You see, I went to a Hebrew school. My education in Warsaw was in 2 languages. It's important to know. Every single subject, if any of, there are no kids here now, but if you're complaining about having to learn Spanish or any other language, well, let me tell you, I had to learn even arithmetic, basic arithmetic, in Hebrew. Can you imagine multiplying a samach by a gimel? That's right, that's how I learned basic arithmetic. My languages were Hebrew, or I should say Polish first, and Hebrew second. Hebrew, not Yiddish. I had to actually steal to learn Yiddish, and I'll never forget because I was caught saying something in Yiddish and I had to write it down 500 times. I learned Hebrew okay. As a result, my Hebrew is, well, it's like my first language. I read, write Hebrew fluently. That's my language. And in addition to this, the school I went to was a private school. My father was sort of well-to-do. And I learned German and a bit of English. English are words. You see, when you learn a language, as you well know, what do you learn? You learn a new language, you either learn the dirty words first, really. Or with that, you learn words, you don't learn sentences. And that played quite a trick on me, you know, when I first hit the 101st Airborne in 1945. To continue, before I go on with my friend here, Laurent, I call him Laurent Chusky. My number was tattooed the following day, and that's when I realized that the 529 people who went into the camp were destined to live for a little bit. The rest automatically went to the little White House that I wrote a song about in Polish, and my grandson, by the way, just translated it into English. I'm going to try to give you a little snippet of it. Anyway, I had all the numbers that were tattooed on my left arm removed, except for a shadow of the last number, which is a 6, so that you could still see it, by the way, because plastic surgery was not perfected when I came to the United States in 1946, and everybody kept on asking, what in the world is your number on here? It wasn't, what would I call it? Gosh, you know, to talk about Holocaust or Auschwitz, nobody wanted to hear it, believe it or not. And I lived in the Bronx on 170th Street and Jessup Avenue with my mother's younger sister who came here about a month before the war. I'm rambling because I am not going to go into the details of it. And now I wish I would not have removed my number. You could still see it. He pulled it together. Had I known, the guy, everybody kept on asking, what is this number? So, and I did not want to go into the explanation of the story, you know, where I didn't want them to feel sorry for me. I didn't look like a kid who needed to be sorry for. So I told them it was my telephone number. And believe it or not, they believed it too. That's right. That's right. But to give you a little bit of the info, as I am approaching the 73rd anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz on January 27, 1945 by the Russian army, it is beyond my ability to fully express or comprehend what happened to me in the 6 years of World War II. I will try to the best of my ability to give you a little idea, but it's not easy. My number is 83526. That's what I use for my cell phone. That's what I use. I have no problem trying to find a code, I can tell you that. A combination of my number. This will not be, it's not a pleasant journey, but it is my hope and the faith in God that the human race will eventually come to its senses and learn to live in peace on this earth. With the passing of time, the number of veterans of World War II and survivors of the Holocaust are passing at a very alarming rate. But you know, the thing I do want to mention to you, and you'll get a kick out of it, and I love to repeat that. After the first couple of weeks of dragging dead bodies from the ditch around the electrified barbed wire fence because I looked strong, we went on the march, of course, in December 24th. We went on a march to Dachau from Auschwitz. If you look at the map, you'll realize that was not a trip like West Windsor to Philadelphia. I can tell you that. Whoever did not make it, of course, was shot, and I learned quickly how to be in the middle and not at the edge. When we got to Dachau, just like Auschwitz was orderly, perfect German order, deathly orderly, everything was in order. They knew exactly what was going to happen and how they did this. They organized, everything was organized. Dachau was just the opposite. No place to sleep, no place to eat, nothing. We came into Dachau in January of 1945. Please remember that the war was not over until May 7th, 1945. When we got into Dachau, I realized I'm never going to make it. You see, in Auschwitz, I became a privileged prisoner. Why? Because a couple of weeks after dragging the body, somebody yelled out, "Hey, Wisnia, sing something." And the cell block leader said, "Can you really sing?" Well, I became the formal entertainer of Birkenau. What happened at that particular point is even the SS came, and I learned a German song at the time. Laurent, remember this? Man muss ja Klavier spielen können. Wer Klavier spielt hat Glück bei den Frauen. Now, you have to learn to play the piano, because if you learn to play the piano, you'll have luck with the girls. That was the song. And boy, did they love that, God. And my German was quite good, so I became a privileged prisoner. And because longevity in Auschwitz, Birkenau particularly, was approximately about a month and a half. I'm talking now about the people who were selected to live, not the ones who were killed immediately. We helped build 3 more crematoriums in Auschwitz, in Birkenau itself. I never left Auschwitz, but that's a separate story. There'll be a sequel to that book that they just published on me. If you take a look here when you get a chance, before you leave, of what I looked like, I was quite a good-looking kid, strong, blonde, really okay. Now, I hung around Dachau, the Schreibstube, which is the office, to wait and hope maybe I'll be able to get out of there, because I realized I could never survive Dachau. I survived Auschwitz, but not Dachau. So, one fine morning after a couple of weeks in Dachau, that's all, in January and February, the beginning of February, 1945, if you can think back that far, there was a placard, Bekanntmachung. Anybody who can carry 25, I don't remember anymore, kilograms or whatever of cement. They were building bunkers in Austria for the Messerschmitts that were being bombed by the Allies. You know, they tried to have bunkers for their planes. And that's exactly where they wanted people who can carry certain bags of cement, you know, to go. So, I was the first to volunteer. We got on a train finally. It's February now, 1945, and we're on the way. That's why I wanted to tell you this little story. That's the greatest, really. I still break up when I think of it. Together with about 85 or 90 young guys, we got together and decided we were going to volunteer. We put on a train, of course, SS guarded, from Dachau, starting to go towards the south, further south, towards Austria. Well, I wasn't too happy. I was afraid they were going to kill us anyway, so I realized, let me organize an escape group. I did. In the train leaving from Munich, going south, I organized 6 other guys, and we decided the next time we're being strafed by planes, we were strafed by planes, and the planes had red stars on them. Please remember, we were strafed by the Russians when we left Auschwitz. So to me, a star, red star, who cared what color, was Russian, and that played quite a trick, and that's why I'm telling you this little story. So as we are being strafed, we took off, because they got us out of they stopped the train, got us out into the ditches alongside of the railroad tracks, and 6 guys plus myself took off. Unfortunately, about an hour later, SS men with machine guns found us. I thought definitely they were going to kill us, but I guess they needed us more than, for building the bunkers, so we got a respite. Anyway, we went back on the train. Second time, Wisnia decided, you're not too smart, you don't go with a group. If you're going to disappear by yourself. I did. Tried it again after about 2 days, I think it was less than that, and made it. Where does one go? Sleeping in a barn. And the barns were full of food, there were no worries. Until one fine morning, about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I hear a roar. I'm looking, and by the way, where does one go? I have no compass. I knew I was in Germany. I speak German. That's fine. I look like a German boy, but how long can I work this out? And my compass was the artillery barrages, that we hear at the front, going towards the front. Wind up. 5 o'clock in the morning, it was, I think, a Monday or a Tuesday, I hear a roar of tanks. And I get up to that little hill and look down at the most magnificent highway, and a array of about 15, 20 tanks coming towards the place where I was hiding. I was looking for a place to hole up for the day. I only walked at night. As I approach that top of the hill, the column of tanks, trucks, I never saw anything like this. And if I ever prayed, let me tell you, I prayed hard. Dear God, don't let there be a swastika on it. Remember, on the lead tanks, or a black cross, if you know what I'm talking about, if you looked at the World War II vintage, movies. As the tanks approach closer, I see from afar a star, a white star, but who cared? White star, green star, yellow star, as long as it wasn't a swastika. The whole truck. You think I'm important. I was asked to speak in front of you. Oh, I was in Cape May today, and I got all kinds of gigs. Well, I was really important. The whole column stopped. Can you picture this? I don't know if any of you ever saw remember the story in the newspapers of Tiananmen Square where the guy was standing, up in front of the tanks. That's approximately the way this picture took place. As a matter of fact, they're going to do a screenplay on it eventually, I understand. And with all my might, I get down to in front of that first tank, and the whole tank column stopped for me. I was important. Out of the hatch of the lead tank walks out Captain James L. Walker from South Carolina. James L. Walker, I never heard such English in my life. You know, as I told you, what do you learn? You learn the language, you learn dirty words. You don't learn anything. I did get the idea, he says to me, "Good job, man. Are you Russian?" To me, his star was Russian. He says, no, American. I figured, oh God, I'm in trouble, because we heard these were the remnants of the 101st Airborne that came down from the Battle of the Bulge, was confronted by assessmen who disguised themselves as Americans and used American uniforms quite successfully. Okay, so he says to me, all I got is the word escape. Escape? Where you escape from? He wanted to know if there were SS. Yes, he wants me to go back. I did get the gist of it. He wanted me to go back and show him where the SS men, you know, who were guarding us were. Well, I wasn't interested in doing that. P.S. I never left. This became my second life. My life began then. 101st Airborne 506 Parachute Infantry, H Company. I eventually became the honored volunteer to talk down the SS to lay down their arms because I spoke German. And I did quite a little job of it. Never left them until I came to Hoboken, New Jersey. In 1946, February 20th, as an American, and I became American, 101% American. As a matter of fact, it breaks my heart when I see somebody desecrating the flag. I am all the way over to the right, further right than Attila the Hun, really. Okay? As a matter of fact, I didn't tell my son, I just got an invitation to a luncheon with the President of the United States, believe it or not, in New Jersey. They're having a luncheon for him, and they asked me, how about that? Anyway, that's all fine and beautiful, and you know, the fruits of my labor, I'm really proud of my children, especially your leader here, Rabbi Eric. And I remember when we came here, my God, how many years ago? 40 years? It's been 40 years. It's something like that. Anyway, there were 50 members in that outfit here in BethChaim. Thank God. Really, he's retiring, I understand. I don't know why you let him go, but... And you know what's more beautiful? Really, on top of all that, and I'll end with that, his assistant here, Rabbi Adina, was one of my best students for Bat Mitzvah in Har Sinai Temple in Trenton, where I was for the last 20 years or so. Anyway, wind up being in Warsaw, where I went to school, through school. I learned I was a soloist in one of the largest synagogues actually the largest synagogue in Warsaw. First at the Nozik Synagogue, that's still standing, because the Germans kept it as a stable for their horses. And the second one, my dad did not think it was good enough to be with a synagogue that only had 28 people in the choir. So he took me to the great synagogue, great reform. It was no such thing as a reform, but the great synagogue in Warsaw at the Tlomackie Synagogue with Cantor Moshe Kusevitsky, who was, you might have heard the name, and I learned a couple of the goodies over there. So I'm going to treat you to one of my favorites, the best. Sheibana Beit HaMikdash, that I learned from the director of the choir. By the way, the director of the choir of the great synagogue in Warsaw that was destroyed by SS General Jürgen Stroop at the Warsaw Uprising, right after the Warsaw Uprising, we had an 80-piece choir. Got that? 80. Mostly boys. Towards the end, we had a couple of girls, but they were hidden, really. And this was at the great synagogue, at the Tlomackie Synagogue, and I was treated to this song, Sheyibana, a little piece of Chazanut. So here we go. Ratzon milfanecha, Yehi ratzon, Yehi ratzon, Yehi ratzon, Yehi Ratzon milefanecha, Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu, Avoteinu. Now you know this refrain. Sheibane Beit HaMikdash b'mehera b'yameinu v'tein chalkeinu b'toratecha. Sheibane Beit HaMikdash b'mehera b'yameinu Yehi ratzon milfanecha, ratzon yehi. Sheibane Beit HaMikdash b'mehera b'yameinu, ki me'olam shanim kadmonio Sheibane BethChaimChannel B'meira b'yameinu Ki me'olam uksarim kadmonio Sheibane BethChaimChannel B'meira b'yameinu Yehi ratzon milfanecha ratzon yehi ratzon milfanecha yehi ratzon milfanecha sheibane BethChaimChannel sheibane BethChaimChannel Oh, b'meira b'yameinu V'tei chalkeinu b'toratecha B'shom navodecha b'yira B'shom navodecha b'yira B'shom navodecha b'yira Ki me'olam Oshanim kademon yehot Thank you. Thank you, Laurent. One thing that got to me, and I'm going to give it to you also, really, when I got to New York and quickly learned, Second Avenue Theater, and guess what became quite popular with, who was the star? Jan Pierce. You've heard, I'm sure, but became very popular, even though I did not speak Yiddish, but I had to learn Yiddish quite well. And we did Mamele. Und seh ich die Zins, die Licht vor Schabes. Die Schinne scheint leicht auf dein Gesicht. Richtig ist das Ort, heilig ist das Wort, benzendig die Licht. Mamele, Mamele, mit Liebsaft will ich dir noch rufen, Mamele. Augenmied, schwach dein Hand, in a golden Herz ist jedem Kind bekannt. Ich gedenk, wenn du pflegst mich beruhigen, a Kind von 3 Uhr bloß, ich darf dich sehr. wie die pflegst mich setzen damals auf dein Scheuß. Mit der Kisch aufgewischt jeden Trär, weiß dein Kopf, wie Schnee was fällt. Mama, wer ich hasse, dass die wirst gröien alt. Mamele, Mamele, sei gewünscht von Gott, Mamele. Mamele, Mamele, Mama dear, I'll always call you Mamele. Tired eyes, golden hymns, and a love that you can bekannt. I remember how you used to comfort me, a little boy of 3, in bygone years. I remember how you sat me on your knee. With a kiss, you would dry my tears. Silvery hair, heart of gold. Mama, how I hate to see you growing old. Mamele, Mamele, may God bless you, dear. Mama, Mamele. Thank you. I'd like to finish this off with a prayer that is in the prayer book. I just found it here. It was made popular by Shai Abramson, the lead cantor of the Israel Defense Forces. He's a tenor, of course I'm no tenor, but let me tell you, the most beautiful piece of music I have heard, and let's see, you can all join me in the refrain. Here is the way it goes. Avinu Shebashamayim. Can we have that? Avinu, Avinu Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo. Come on, everybody. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo. Barech, Barech, et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Geulatenu. Again Aleha, Bi'evrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha, Sukat Shlomecha. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo. Come on. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo. Ushelach Orcha V'mitcha L'rasheha Sareha Ve'otzea, ve'otzea, v'taknem b'yetza tova, milfanecha, v'taknem b'yetza tova, milfanecha. Everybody, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, to Israel v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, to Israel v'goalo. Chazek, Chazek, Chazek et yidei miginei eretz chodshenu, v'hanchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, v'ateret nitzachon teatrem, chazek, chazek, chazek et yidei miginei eretz chodshenu, v'ateret nitzachon tenachem v'ateret, v'natata shalom, shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam liyoshveiha. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. V'nomar, v'nomar, Amen. Thank you.
In a moment, we'll begin our special service.
If you want to see a good-looking soldier, take a look over here on the side. Thank you, sir. Huh? You can follow.
Mr. Clay,
Thank you. Thank you.
really beautiful. Isaac Evangel.
Yeah, I guess. See,
Okay. Do you want me to leave that sort of
where's
there?
my?
Oh, did you leave it on the chair there?
No, I left it. I left the whole
Ah, it
set
seems like
of.
a couple. Did you have cues on it? Wait, is it font? Wait, Stuart. What's this?
Oh, I can use any of these. I just.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
my notes with the keys.
Oh, I know. Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Is this a little break here? We should just restart it.
Yeah, we're taking the break.
The services
Helping
are
to wash the hands.
just stay on that.
It's a euphemism.
Oh, gotcha. Powder the nose.
And if you
I'll wait.
Better. You need that D minor?
What's that?
You need the D minor, or you're good?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, thank you. So we're doing Hashibeno in A minor, right?
Oh, no. Hashibeno first, right? A
Yeah,
minor?
A minor. What's that?
Nothing. We got nothing.
We're good. How you doing?
Your song is next, slide-wise, and then Ashamnu is up there also.
Okay. And I'll say a little bit. So, Kavanagh 1 is which rabbi? Kavanagh. It's a
I
rabbi.
don't remember. It's either J or.
Elecha
Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadosh Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma, 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 Yivrach Yiroteh, ve'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'b'yom echon, u'b'chayelecho bet Yisrael, b'agana u'b'zman kariv, ve'imro Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemed kudesha barichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata tamiran be'alma ve'imro Amen. Please be seated. B'motzei menucha kidamu chatechila hatoznecha mimarom hatoznecha mimarom Yosef Tehillah Lishmoa El Harina Lishmoa El Harina Ve'el HaTefillah. Please join me. Lishmoa El Harina Lishmoa El Harina Ve'el HaTefillah.
The oldest part of the High Holy Day liturgy is found in the sections traditionally in the Musaf service of Malchiot, rulership, kingship, Zichronot, remembrances, and Shofarot, related to the shofar. Malchiot, rulership, kingship, is introduced by the Aleinu prayer. And the Aleinu prayer was written originally for Rosh Hashanah Musaf. Only later was it used at the end of each service because of its popularity. Aleinu is the marvelous hope of contemplating the glory of God's power. When the world will be perfected, the Taken Olam b'Malchut Shaddai, to perfect the world under God's kingship. In the Malchiot section, the first of these three important sections that we recite on Rosh Hashanah, we emphasize the principal theme of the liturgy, that God is ruler. We're reminded of that famous prayer that we say, Avinu Malkeinu, where we talk about God as being our ruler. We do not live in a universe that is devoid of authority and sovereignty, and we are not the victims of a natural process that pays no attention to us. Rather, we live in a world which is the domain of God. History has meaning, and we are responsible for our actions. And as we recite this Aleinu prayer in the Malchiot section, I think the thing we should think about during these high holy days is, what are we going to do in the area of social action and social justice in the upcoming year to do our part to try to help perfect this world. Think about this year picking something new to do. And when we do all of these things collectively, we bring the world a little closer to perfection. So as we recite the Malchiot section this year on the High Holy Days in our various congregations, I hope that you will think about the new thing that you'll do during this upcoming year. And may these High Holy Days give us the opportunity to help us determine our priorities and l'taken olam b'malchut Shaddai, to perfect our world under God's kingship. We ask you to rise.
Please take your seats. Thank you. After a little conference. Could I have the slide? So my name is Jeff Warschauer, Cantor Jeff Warschauer. I'm the new cantor at the Jewish Center of Princeton, and I'm really pleased to be there and to be in this area and to be invited to have the great honor and pleasure of being here and to be here for that wonderful talk and concert by Cantor Wisnia, who I've heard of for many years, but have not had the pleasure of hearing before. And I love that he sang in Hebrew, and I also love that he sang in Yiddish. And I have something from the Yiddish religious tradition. We don't hear so much of that as much as the theater tradition and the folk tradition that Cantor Wisnia sang, but this is a wonderful song, and I really find this perfect for this time of year. So I'm just going to teach you the melody. Please join in with all the fervor that I hope you will put into this high holiday season of repentance and joy. And it goes like this. I die 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 die. Oi die 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 die. Let's try that together. I die 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 die. Oi die die die. I die die. Try that. I die 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 die. Oi die die die. I die die. Second part. I die 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 die. Let's try that. I die 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 die. And the end goes like this. I die 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 die. I die die. Let's try the whole thing. And as we sing Yiddish zusammen, lassen wir singen. I die die. I first verse I'll sing in Yiddish. You don't have to sing it, it's not up there. But basically it says, if you don't have faith with all of your money, hopefully you have the money and the faith. If you don't have faith with all of your money, why are you working on this earth? And if you don't have understanding with all of that money, what do you want out of this life on this earth? Hat nicht keiner Monat zusammen mit dem Geld, wo arbeitest du auf der Welt? Hat nicht keiner Biene zusammen mit dem Geld, wo bräuchst du auf der Welt zusammen? Ai, 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 oi, 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 oi. absolutely brilliant friends, Rabbi Sruli Dresner and Lisa Mayer, translated this into English. I will not have us sing all of the words that correspond to all of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, but we'll sing the ones that are here. Can you see them? Yeah. Without awareness to go with your net worth, what are you asking from this earth? Without balance to go with your net worth, what is your business on this earth? Without compassion to go with your net worth, why are you crawling all over this earth? Without discretion to go with your net worth, why are you dancing all over this earth? I, die, 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 I, die, 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 I, die, 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 I, die, die, I, die, 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 without wonder to go with your net worth, what do you want from this whole earth? Without excitement to go with your net worth, what do you expect from this whole earth? Without yearning to go with your net worth, how will you feel your years on this earth? Without zeal to go with your net worth, why are you zooming all over this earth? Please rise. El melech yoshev al kisei rachamim. V'yitatzei b'moshav yikara v'shem Adonai. Vayavo Adonai al panav vayikra.
Adonai, Adonai, el rachum v'chanon, erech apayim v'rav chesed v'emet, notzer chesed l'alafim, nose avon v'fesha, v'chata v'nakeh. At the bottom of page 2, forgive us our sins, claim us for your own. Selach lanu avinu ki chatanu, mechal lanu malkeinu ki fashanu, ki ata Adonai tov v'salach, v'rav chesed l'chol korecha.
Shma Shma Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu. 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 Shma Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Husrachem Aleinu v'kabel barachamim uvratzon et tefillatenu. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Alecha, Beno Help us return to you, O God, then truly we shall return. Renew our days as in the past. Al tashlichenu milfanecha, v'ruach kadshecha, al tikach mimenu. Al tashlichenu leid zikna, Kichlot kochenu al ta'azvenu. Do not dismiss us when we are old. As our strength diminishes, do not abandon us.
Please be seated. Al tashlichenu le'it zikna. Don't throw us away when we're old. I'm old. I have the zichronot, the memories, to remember. 42 years ago, I came here, I was young. I was thin. I had hair. I had the body of a god, Adonis. Now I still have the body of a god, only it's Buddha. "42 high holy days, it's a long time. I remember the many people I have known in this community. Many, many people have passed through the doors of our synagogues. Some have passed away, others have been gathered to their people in Florida. This is a good community. It's still got a lot of life in it. It's got a lot of good people in it. We have a lot of good memories in our past, and we will have many, many more memories in our future. Let us not pray that God makes our lives free of problems, nor ask God to make us and those we love immune to disease and the passing of time. Nor should we ask God to weave a magic spell around us so that bad things will happen only to other people and never to us. But let us be people who pray for courage, for strength to bear the unbearable, for the grace to remember that what we have left instead of what we have lost. Very often, that is the answer to our prayers. Let us discover that we have more strength, more courage than we ever knew. We cannot escape suffering in our future. We could not escape it in our past. But let us find God among those in our community who share the journey. Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Please rise for Ashamnu. Ay, 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 Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazanu,
Gazalnu,
Dibarnu dofi, Evinu, Veirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu shaker, ay, 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 Yatznura, Izavnu, Latznu, Maradnu, Niyatznu, Liatsnu,
Sararnu,
Sarano,
Avinu,
Avinu,
Pashanu,
Pashanu,
Sararnu,
Sarano,
Kishinu Oref,
Kishinu Ore,
Rashanu,
Rashanu,
Shichadnu,
Shechadnu,
Tiavnu,
Tiavnu,
Tahinu,
Tainu,
Titanu.
Titanu.
Please be seated. Goodness of the world, Tuvo Shel Olam. Today we stand before the shofar to hear in its voice the broken notes of our history, the unbroken quest from Moriah and Sinai to the end of days. At Sinai, our people accepted their calling. Together, on the third day, as morning dawned, there was thunder and lightning, a dense cloud upon the mountain, and a very loud blast of the horn. The sound of the shofar grew louder and louder. As Moses spoke, God answered in thunder. Festive music and solemn declaration, the shofar gave voice to the spirit of Israel. Sound the shofar on feast day, on the new moon when it is hidden. For this is Israel's law, a decree of the God of Jacob. It enlivened our worship with power and joy. Praise God with the shofar call. Praise God with harp and lyre. Sounding the alarm in ancient days, it gathered our people for battle. The Spirit of God enveloped. He sounded the shofar. The shofar called us to judgment and repentance. Sound a ram's horn in Zion. Sanctify a fast. Proclaim a solemn assembly. Gather the people. Turn back to me with all your heart, with fasting, weeping, and lamenting. It proclaimed the coming of God's dominion. With trumpets and the sound of the horn, raise a shout before our sovereign God, for God will rule the earth justly and its peoples with equity. Summoned to battle injustice, we heard the rebuke of our prophets. Cry aloud, spare not, up your voice like a shofar. Goodness of the world, Tuvo Shel Olam. Today we stand before the shofar to hear its voice of hope, resilient and strong, proclaiming freedom, promising redemption. In days to come, a great shofar will be sounded. Those lost in the land of Assyria and those cast away in the land of Egypt will come back and worship Adonai on the holy mountain in Jerusalem. To speak out and never grow weary, to hold fast to the message of Sinai, to believe in a time when all life will be cherished, to work for that day and to know it will come. The blast of the horn sustains us in faith. My God Adonai shall blow the shofar and advance in a stormy tempest. A mighty call that never stops, the shofar resounds forever. All you who live in the world and inhabit the earth, when a flag is raised in the hills, take note. When a shofar is blown, give heed.
Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shemor Sherit Yisrael. Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shemor Sherit Yisrael. 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 Shomer Yisrael, Shome goy echad. Shome goy kadosh. Hamashal shim b'shalosh kedushot likadosh. Guardian of the people Israel, guard the remnant of Israel, and let not Israel perish, those who say, Shema Yisrael.
Please rise.
Yitkedav Yikdash Meiraba, Yamad Ivrakirute, Yamlich Machote, Bachaychon Viomechon of Hayedako Bet Israel, Bagalavs Mankari Vimmeru, Amen. Yesh Meiraba Mavarach, the Olam Alame Almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach Vishabach, Vipaviat Ramam Vietnase, Vietadav Vietaleviat Al Shemed Kudisha, Rechula Elamin Kobe Katavashirata. Tushbachata benechmata, damiram biyama ve'immeru, amen. Tikabat zotan uton, the whole Yisrael, karumavon, divishmaya ve'immeru, amen. Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alena v'yakol Yisrael, ve'immeru, amen. O set shalom b'romahav, hu yaseh shalom, alena v'yakol Yisrael, ve'immeru, amen. You may be seated. Yigdal Elohim Hai ve'yishtava, Tzavaene tel mitzilto, echad v'ein ve'yigudo, le'lam v'gam en sof le'avduto, en lo demutaku ve'inomu, menarot elam kedushato, kadmon l'kol davar asher nivra, אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו, יולך לפעל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע שדרנו, מעביד בסוף גבה בקדמתו, גומל איש חסד במפעלו, נותן לרשע רק ברשעתו, ישלח לקץ ימים משיחנו, לפתור מחכה קץ ישועתו, מתים יחייאל ברוך הסלום, ברוך הדעת שם תהילתו, מתים יחייאל ברוך הסלום, ברוך הדעת שם תהילתו. Yep. Yep. לשנה טובה תכתבו, לשנה טובה תכתבו, לשנה טובה, לשנה טובה, לשנה טובה תכתבו.
שברים תרועה. תקיעה.
שנה טובה. It wasn't the one you expected?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's what okay, yeah. Cool. I think we did actually agree on one, didn't we? Probably each had different ones in mind. Sure. See you tomorrow at, see you tomorrow at 11. Yeah, Minion at 9, right, of course. Hi. Hi, Leslie. Good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for all the time you put aside to work on it. Thank you.